microdose, yeah. Microdose, 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 dose. Microdose, microdose, dose. Microdose, microdose, dose.
What's good, y'all? Kush Hayes here, back in the saddle. It's the Microdose, the original Microdose. You accept no substitutes because guess what? My main man from New Jersey, the best part of New Jersey, the best part of Wednesdays, Mike Fish of the Waffle Box, the original Waffle Box, is here with us tonight. Mike, what's shaking, man?
How's it going, buddy? Not too bad, not too bad. Other than the aforementioned before we went live, we discovered that my brand new bundle of furry joy, Oliver, my new puppy, has chewed through my lighting. And so now I have to go back to Target and spend another $15 to make my podcast look nice again. But other than that, living the dream, my friend. Living the dream.
Gonna have to change his name to Nolliver.
Oh. Oh.
Big bellyache. Big bellyache. My friend, you were here tonight because we are doing a part 2 of a WrestleMania 40 retrospective. For those 5 people listening to this show that don't listen to the Waffle Box, we covered WrestleMania 40 Night 1 2 days ago on Wednesday. Tonight we're going to talk a little bit about part 2, the Sunday edition of WrestleMania 40. Most of this is just like Mike is more of a current fan than I am. I've been out of the loop. The last WrestleMania I saw, or the last wrestling I saw, was WrestleMania 39. So there's some familiar faces. There's 1 or 2 new faces. I've got some opinions. Mike is curious about all of them. But before we get into that, Mike, did you ever get to watch the TV series Heels? It was a Stars TV on pay cable.
No.
That was with Stephen Amell.
And Mr. Philip Brooks, I believe, was in that for sure.
He's only in about 3 or 4 episodes. He's not in many episodes in the 2 seasons that exist. But he is there.
But, you know, if I remember correctly, that was something that I was slightly interested in seeing. But then when I realized it would be another subscription that I needed to sign up for, I was like,
I'm happy to report, if it isn't already on as we're talking this moment, it is on Netflix coming up. So Stars is given the lease to go ahead and syndicate it to Netflix. And now people are speculating maybe we'll get a season 3. I'm not going to tell you how season 2 ended, but yeah, it was pretty dramatic.
He dies.
My biggest complaint about the series, without giving anything away to you again, was literally the TV opening theme. It's very CW, WB, and then I'm like, well, Stephen Amell spent a decade of his life doing those shows, so yeah, that's why it sounds like that. So I'm not mad at him. I'm just like, it's still not a good song. However, I will say Homeboy did his homework. All those times he hung out with Cody Rhodes and the rest of the gang from WWE, because he's a proclaimed pro wrestling fan, sports entertainment fan.
He's a huge wrestling fan.
Yeah, he's been involved in a SummerSlam, I believe.
Yeah, I believe he teamed up with
Stardust.
No, he was facing Stardust. I think.
Oh,
Stardust
really?
Was across the
Very
ring.
exciting.
Because he was at that time he was the Arrow or something like that. He was.
Yes.
So it was like superhero versus superhero.
Okay.
I can't remember who their tag team partners were, but I believe it was a tag match, and it was Stardust was across the ring from him.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I clearly did not catch that event, but I remember hearing about it. Remember the slight build up to it. Remember going, I'd like to go to the Kezar pub and see that, and then for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. Anyways, Heels. Both seasons 1 and 2 will be available on Netflix if it isn't already. And then there is speculation about a season 3. I don't foresee it happening because Stephen Amell has already taken a new job on a new TV series, and well, shit, guy's got to pay the rent, you know. So
I wouldn't be shocked if he performed some kind of Michael J. Fox shit on this, where because he's a big love of that wrestling thing, so I wouldn't be shocked if he worked his main show and then it's like, well, let's try to work my schedule where I can film it.
And Heels is a limited series. It's like 8-9 episodes. I don't know what this new other one is. I doubt it's 20. So yeah, you have a good point. He might be able to juggle both.
And you mentioned the theme song with like this stereotypical terrible CW.
Yeah.
What's the example? Because the only one that pops to mind was what was this Superman show that was on
Smallville.
C
Yes, no,
Smallville,
you're
where
correct.
you'd be like,
You're correct
it
to
did have
compare
that
it to
cold
that.
open. It did have that cold open for like a minute or two, and then you get drawn in, and then all of a sudden,
Somebody save me.
oh, jeez.
For that time, that was a banger. For that show, at that time in the early 2000s, post 9/11, we needed that song. But yeah, in not so much a good time in 2021.
And it had all that if I remember correctly, the cheesy openings of like it was like a sky, and then it had like the dramatic close-ups of each person's face as it
Yes.
like introduced which actor, and it was
Yes.
it was with a really bad blue screen effect. It was
Mhm.
at
Yes,
the time
yeah.
it looked great, but I
It
think
was
I
a
remember
TV show.
watching the
Okay.
opening on YouTube a couple of years ago, and I was like, good.
I bet I would have a good laugh at it too if I watched it now. Yeah.
And now she's
Smallville
behind
went for
bars,
10
right?
years.
Isn't she that woman?
I'm sorry, what?
Isn't the Lois Lane from that show? Isn't she in jail or something now?
No, you're thinking about Chloe Sullivan, aka Allison Mack is her real name, and she's out of jail now. She's done her time.
Oh, good for her.
She's paid her debt to society. What she's doing now, I don't know, but I bet she's single. And
Wipe
she's
the other way.
word on the
Swipe
street
other
is
way.
she's a freak.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, again, Smallville went 10 years. I tapped out, I think, right after season 7. And I was mad through like season 6 and 7. And then finally, like a friend of ours from Properly Promoted was just like, dude, why do you keep watching this show if you hate it? And I was like, I used to like it. I want it to be good. And I was like, you got a point, dude. All right.
Yeah, the Walking Dead was my version of that.
Yeah, I tapped out after Walking Dead after a while too.
Like I watched about 3 seasons after the fact that I was like, this show needs to finish. Like, why am I still watching this? And then I just gave up.
I got
But yeah,
significantly
Smallville. Because I
further.
remember the slow burn. Because I think it wasn't it like season 4 when he finally learned how that he could fly. And I was like, oh my god, if it's
No.
taken 4 years for him to learn to fly, this is going to be
No.
maybe.
Clark Kent actually never flew. Sometimes.
No, I'm sure there was a scene in that movie
So
where
listen
in that show he flew.
I'm going to break it down for you right now. Clark Kent never flew, and there was never a Superman in the TV series. However, once or twice he would get possessed by some sort of other entity. Sometimes it was a phantom. Sometimes it was the spirit of another Kryptonian. And then that individual would fly through Clark Kent. But Clark Kent actually never flew.
Oh, it makes
Seems like
worse.
a cheap shot. I understand. I know what you mean. You're like, I saw Tom Welling hover, stupid. There was wires and everything. Clark Kent never flew.
So when you really think about it, look back, right? Who came up with this idea? Okay, so I've got an idea for a TV show. It's about Superman, but he's never Superman throughout the whole thing.
It's actually a good idea.
Is it though?
Those first 4 years when he's in high school and he's an awkward teenager and just coming into himself, like learning his powers as he goes. Like he didn't just wake up one day and like, I can do X-ray vision and laser vision. That's the shit. They all happen like at awkward moments in his life. Those first 4 seasons are pretty fantastic. It's when he graduates high school that there was also a network merge where WB and UPN merged to become the CW. And once we got into Smallville 5, then it went downhill from there, and it never recovered. It never actually recovered. So, anyways, this is a fantastic Smallville podcast.
Yeah, and then the creators yelled, "What a segue! What a full circle!" Anyway,
so I don't know if you
WrestleMania Night
censored yourself or if Zoom cut your mic out because that's how high pitched you went.
Zoom might have just cut me out. I was
fascinating.
Somebody save me.
Oh, you got a very nice baritone there, Blackfish.
Thanks. I was doing that was the Creed cover version. Somebody save me.
Yeah. No, I hear it right now in my head. It's good. It's good. It's good. So it's a shame I Am So Loco wasn't around. We could get him to do a track for that. Want you to do the Smallville theme, but like Creed. Give him 30 days. He'll figure it out. That guy was a genius.
Give it more Christian rock, baby.
He could do it. I'm telling you, IAmSoLoco could do it. But yeah, man, WrestleMania 30. WrestleMania 40. Let's go back 10 years. So we had WrestleMania 40. We had part 2. I was at work both days. Because of what my time was on Saturday, I actually got to watch all of Night One uninterrupted. It was pretty fantastic, dude. The event actually started 2 hours before the first pitch of the night, and then Cody Rhodes got pinned by The Rock just before the 9th inning. It was pretty fantastic. And then, well, the way just things worked out was night 2 started an hour before the game would end. So I missed Rollins versus McIntyre, and I understand there was a Money in the Bank cash in. And then I missed I just caught the very end of something called the Pride versus the Testament, and that's Bobby Lashley's faction, which that match, the ending of that match looked awful, and I'm only basing it on like literally 2 minutes of spectating, but that did not appear to be a good match to me. Mike Fish, tell me what I missed up to this point here.
So yeah, the opening match, Drew McIntyre versus Seth freaking Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship, was a barn burner, as they say. They just kind of ding, 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 and then they just went straight into beating the crap out of each other. Drew McIntyre hit his finisher straight away, but then kick out, and it was just like big move after big move after big move after big move.
Okay.
CM Punk, who's currently injured with a torn tricep, I believe.
He's wearing the little bionic arm gimmick now.
Yeah. So he was at ringside doing commentary because allegedly, it's never been confirmed, but allegedly the original plans were for CM Punk to be challenging Seth Rollins, but he got injured, so Drew McIntyre got put into the program.
Okay.
Bit of perfectness. So yeah, Drew McIntyre ends up pinning Seth Rollins, winning the championship, and it was a beautiful moment because 4 years ago, Drew McIntyre won the title against Brock Lesnar during the COVID WrestleMania, and it's been like a whole thing of like Drew McIntyre deserves his big moment in front of a crowd at WrestleMania to win the title. So he wins the title, and there's this kind of like nice little moment.
So this is his second WWE Heavyweight Championship.
Correct.
Okay.
But then, so leading up to this match, this is like there's a lot of little small Easter eggs on this card, and this was the first one. So leading up to the match, obviously Seth Rollins was also involved in the Bloodline storyline with Cody Rhodes, hence the tag team match from Night 1. And all throughout the build, Drew McIntyre was talking about how, like, hey, this is going to backfire on you. You're taking your eye off the ball, like you're focusing too much on them, and that's going to be your downfall because I'm going to take your title away from you, basically. And so that comes through to fruition. He takes his title, but then Drew McIntyre focuses on CM Punk. I mean, he's like on the announce table. He's like getting his groin all in CM Punk's face, like waving a title belt and giving him the DX, suck it, chop it. Like he was like, yeah, fuck you. Yeah, and he's like holding the title in front of CM Punk's face and yelling at the cameraman, like, get this shot. I wanted him to see like I'm the champion. And then CM Punk eventually just like trips his legs up, hits him over the head with his bionic elbow. And then that's when Damian Priest comes out, cashes in the Money in the Bank, and wins the title. So like they're kind of all throughout the build of this match, Drew McIntyre was telling Seth Rollins that he needs to keep his eye on the prize, otherwise he's going to lose the title. And then literally 30 seconds after Drew McIntyre wins the title, he takes his eye off the ball and loses the title. It's quite apropos, if you will.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It was cinema. Cinema, as they've been
Cinema.
all saying leading up to
cinema.
this.
Now,
So
I don't want to jump ahead real quickly, but let's go backwards, actually. The night before, the main event, the tag match, Rollins and Rhodes versus Rock and Roman. Everybody put themselves through hell. In fact, Roman ended the night with like a busted nose. Like, I'm surprised it wasn't actually bloodier. Like, I'm surprised no one got a busted forehead, a swollen eye. But like, those guys took each other to task that previous night. When we get to the main event, the singles match, the next night, Sunday, the match we're talking about tonight, Rhodes and Reigns, I'm not saying they're 100%, but they don't seem to have suffered any concussions, no significant injuries from the night before. No one's got a little limp. No one's got a bruise on their forearm. Like, did Seth Rollins come into the match at least a little injured to lose this match?
Off the top of my memory serves me correctly, no.
Yeah,
I don't think he did. He came in with his big, grandiose WrestleMania entrance, looking great, looking dandy. Yeah, I can see what you're saying. It would have been nice because then even that would have played into the storyline with Drew McIntyre saying, "Hey, you're going to take your eye off the ball. You're going to lose to me." So it would have made sense if Seth Rollins almost came into the match almost looking regretful. If that we were like, "Oh shit, he's right. I shouldn't have gone into that match. Now I'm at a disadvantage." But no, he seemed fine, and they just kind of went into the pretty good 10-minute match.
It was a 10-minute match? Holy shit.
It was only 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay. What was it? The event started at 4 my time. I got home about 5 after 5, and that's when Pride and Testament was ending. Like, again, like I literally saw the very last 2 minutes of the match. I saw the pinfall, and I believe Bobby Lashley pinned somebody.
Yeah. After I think there was a table spot because Bubba Ray Dudley was introduced as a special guest referee.
Okay.
Because of Philadelphia ECW, why not?
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what.
Tell me what.
I'm not gonna, I'm not a fashionista, or I'm not gonna shame anyone, but Bubba Ray Dudley, normally you'd think he looks good. Because I remember back in the day he was a big fella.
Mm-hmm.
But then when he went from Bubba Ray to Bully Ray in TNA/Impact Wrestling, he seemed to kind of bulk up a bit, hit the gym, toned up a bit, and he looked like a bouncer rather than a fat guy.
Okay.
And I don't know whether that's still the case, but he came out in a referee shirt and it was tucked in. Not a good look for him. It didn't. It didn't. He's. I don't know if you've seen those commercials for those t-shirts from is it Untuck It? Those special that button downs that are designed to be untucked so they look good. He should wear those.
Not familiar with that at all, but okay.
But yeah, he came out and then very quick, simple match. The bad guys ended up arguing with the referee, Bubba Ray Dudley, and so he pulled out the Bubba Ray Dudley glasses, and then shenanigans happened, and then he told people to get tables, and they did what's up, and it was a very gimmicky, quick, short match. Nothing to write home about.
Okay, so that first match was 10 minutes, and this one wasn't much longer. Like, what was going on for the first half hour of this event? Like, again, it started at 4.
So the opening was they did I can't remember the exact song it was, but it wasn't the national anthem, but they did
Star Spangled Banner.
God bless America, or America the Beautiful, whatever it was. They did that, and then they did like some video packages, and then I think Stephanie McMahon came out to welcome everyone for the 58th time to the new era of WWE. So yeah, there was good 15 to 20 minutes before even the first match where like just stuff was happening.
Okay. So the opening sounds more like an episode of Raw, or at least the Raw I used to know. Again, I have not tuned in forever. So okay. Was it LA Knight and AJ Styles next, or was it Sky and Bailey?
It was LA Knight and AJ Styles.
Hmm. This match was very passive. In fact, I thought
Yeah,
the funniest thing out of it was when LA Knight showed up and then he gave his car keys to some elderly woman in the front row, and she's like, I don't know what's going on here. Like,
yeah, you can drive the Slim Jim car now because this was this night's big promoted
yeah,
match. So this was the Slim Jim match
sure.
because last night or the night before, I think if I remember correctly, who was it? Was it the Rey Mysterio? No, it was the Jay versus Jimmy Uso, which was the Dude Wipes match. But that was heavily sponsored by Dude Wipes.
Yeah, well, they all had an individual sponsor, but okay.
But I remember because just before the match, LA Knight drives to this stadium in a big Slim Jim mobile.
Bright yellow, I think it was a Mustang, but whatever. Like, yeah. This little old lady doesn't know what to do with this. She is either someone's grandmother that happened to be in Philadelphia, and she's like, I guess I'll go to the arena tonight. Like, she had no idea what was going on there. She has no idea she was entered in a contest. When this big, greasy, muscular man hands her a set of keys, she's like, what am I doing with this? Like, this woman could not be more confused. You could have handed her a pina colada. You could have handed her a set of car keys. You could have handed her a smoke detector. She did not know what was going on there through no fault of her own.
Oh, like for 3 hours after the event ended, she was just walking around the parking lot, clicking it, waiting. Which one's my one?
I think I hear it.
And then after all the cars leave, there's just like 2 cars left, and she's like, please don't be the Slim Jim one. Please don't be the Slim Jim one.
It's worse. It's being towed. It's on one of those flatbeds, and now she has to pay the impound fee because
it's not my car. Well, you got the keys, lady.
Yeah. Even if that doesn't happen, the worst thing that does happen to her is she has to pay taxes on that now.
The old Family Feud shenanigans.
Yeah, Price is Right gimmick. Yeah. The old Oprah, you get a car and you get a car. Like 300 people are like, I can't. What? We don't have $3,000 for taxes on the new car you gave us, Oprah.
Oh yeah, I went on Family Feud. Oh, how'd you do? Oh yeah, I won. Real nice. What did you win? A $4,000 debt. Go me.
So,
but yeah, this match was very forgetful. It was just a shame because I'm a big fan of LA Knight. He's not the best quote unquote professional wrestler, but he's very charismatic. He's got a great character. He's over with the crowd. He does the point thing, and they go LA Knight, yeah. Like he's very over. And AJ Styles is AJ Styles. He's fantastic, but for whatever reason, it's like, yeah, this is happening. That was my let's go grab another drink from the fridge match kind of thing.
Fair enough. Do we even remember who won? I want to say AJ won, but I genuinely don't remember.
LA Knight won.
Oh, LA Knight won. Well, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. As long as they both had fun, that's the main thing.
That is the main. That's very important. It's very important. Let me see what else we got here. Believe we got Logan Paul, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens.
This was one of my favorite matches of the week.
Okay. I didn't hate it. I thought it was interesting. I think it's silly that Logan Paul is walking to the ring with the mascot for his product, but also I'm just like, no, for his character, I like it. Yeah, he's
done it before. That's becoming his like thing now. Like for his big.
That's
matches,
not a regular thing.
It's not a regular thing, but
it should be.
He's done it before.
Yeah. Last year, I remember reading it last year with whoever the guy was that he bought. KSI, not KS1.
Yeah,
KSI.
this year it was iShowSpeed, who I have no idea who that guy is.
Yeah, big shrug over here too. Big shrug over.
But
here.
that was the only reason. This is one of my favorite matches of the weekend for 2 reasons. One, is because Kevin Owens came out with a golf cart.
Yeah.
Drove to the ring, and then when he heard Randy Orton's music hit, he stuck it in reverse, went all the way back up the ramp. And then Randy Orton was like, "Oh, sure, yeah, okay." And he got on, and they drove back to the ring. It was just that made me chuckle. And because once the match started, usually, whenever it's a triple threat match, and there's like 2 people, they're on the same page, beating up the bad guy, normally like the bad guy will do something stupid and the two baby faces will look ridiculous. They'll look like morons and they'll turn on each other.
Mm-hmm.
So Randy Orton and Kevin Owens are teaming up against Logan Paul. And then at one point, Logan Paul kind of pushes Kevin Owens into Randy Orton.
Mm-hmm.
And they look at each other. And I'm thinking, oh, here we go. This is the dumb shit. Here we go. They're going to start fighting each other. But then Kevin Owens said, "Did you see that? He pushed me into you." And then Randy Orton said, "I know, I saw that." And then they carry on teaming up on Logan Paul. And it's like, oh, brilliant. That's finally that spot that made sense. I love that bit. And then the final reason why this match was fantastic, when IAmSoLoco, whoever that guy is again, revealed himself.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the kick that Randy Orton gave to him? He, like, we are Sparta, kicked the soul out of this boy. It was fantastic. Like, if you go on, like, look on like social media or look on YouTube, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. Randy Orton does not pull back. Like, we all know, yes, wrestling is wink, wink, nudge, nudge, breathe, blah, 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 blah. But he kicked this guy in the gut. Because I guess maybe he thought, oh, he's got the padding, whatever. Whoever IAmSoLoco was, you could see by his face, he was not expecting to be kicked that hard. It was hilarious. But yeah, it was pretty good. It was fun.
I definitely remember Logan Paul retaining that match, but yeah, I remember his mascot getting assaulted. I don't remember the big boot or anything, but I remember him actually getting the foam costume torn off of him. Just give me it. Anyway.
And he took one hell of an RKO on the announce desk.
Okay.
So
I remember a lot of times
the
announcer tables getting messed up this night.
Yeah, whoever's in production must have had like 8 spare ones because that one got tore up.
Yeah, those monitors are not cheap, and 2, they come in a very heavy case. They come 4-day case if you're lucky, but still, you got to have those on standby or whatever. The way they were knocking them off the whole night, yeah, forget about it.
The IT guy was probably pissed.
That's a different department entirely. No, this is a video thing where we literally had like a V1 or a V2 and a utility have to get out there quickly, replace the monitor, get rid of the old monitor, and replug everything and put everything back in place on the desk. And it's just like 4 times tonight, guys. Yeah, I had to replace this fucking monitor 4 times tonight. Fucking hell.
I mean, yeah, you work in production. Imagine that. Like, you just replace these monitors, and now to put my feet up, kick back, and enjoy the rest of the show.
Oh no,
Crash.
Doris Burke
just
put Charles Barkley through the table. Oh my God, why Doris?
Again?
This bitch is insane. Why would she do that? Oh no.
Fun fact: we are now through this review. We are now coming up to the penultimate match. And to do the quick math, we are about like 40 minutes of wrestling into this show.
Oh, my recording only has 28 minutes, but that's okay. So, anyway.
No, I mean, in terms of like throughout, so we are almost towards the end of the WrestleMania Night 2.
Sure.
And there have only been about 38, 40 minutes of actual in-ring wrestling.
Oh, really? Interesting. That can't
was,
possibly be. I think your numbers must be off, but I'm not. I'm in no way to dispute it. So okay, that's fine. IAmSoLoco is defending against Bailey. EO. Okay. Excuse me.
EO.
Yeah. So these two used to be a part of the same team, Damage Control, and then what happened in the last year that not only are they both not on the same team, but are facing each other for the title.
So yes, at SummerSlam. Good Lord, when was it last year or the year before? I can't remember now.
It would have to have been this year because they apparently were on the same team last WrestleMania. If I understood it correctly.
Then it must have been the year before. So Bailey was injured and
Oh,
out,
okay.
and then all of a sudden she returns at WrestleMania at SummerSlam, and she comes joined by Sky and Dakota Kai, who at that time were wrestling exclusively on NXT,
Oh,
which for those that don't know is WWE's developmental show, which you can see live on USA Tuesday, blah blah blah. And then yeah, they become a team called Damage Control, and then fast forward, I want to say late last year, early this year. What is her name? Kairi Sane made her return to the company after wrestling for Stardom, the Japanese all women's promotion,
okay. Yeah, I'm familiar
and
with
and then through that, Asuka joined the group because they used to be a team back in the day, the Kabuki Warriors, and they were all living happily ever after. But then, kind of, there would be like throughout the time, there would be like all the three Japanese women would be like talking amongst themselves, and Sky won the women's championship, and then Bailey won the Royal Rumble, and then that's when the dissension happened. And they all kept talking, and then, long story short, Bailey revealed that, I learned Japanese secretly, and I know you've been talking shit behind my back.
that.
And they had a big falling out, and
Okay.
then the Japanese portion of the group split off, and then Dakota Kai also joined after turning on Bailey, and then Bailey's on her own leading up to this match.
Okay. All right. Well, one, it was a very good match. Two, I mentioned this on the Waffle Box the other night, but my biggest takeaway from this, my biggest surprise, was during the press conference, Bailey had revealed. I don't know why I use the word reveal because everyone else but me knows this. It's like, yeah, after 11 years, it finally feels good to win one. And it was like, 11 years? You've been in WWE 11 years now? Like, so Bailey got trained out in Newark, California with a company called Big Time Wrestling. I don't know who her trainer
Big
specifically
time.
was, but she went under the name Davina Rose. And I'm literally dealing with my own professional drama at that time. So I keep seeing the name on other cards, but I don't know her. We've never met. We were never in a position to book her. But still, it's nice to see the local girl do good. And yeah, it was a very solid match. She's one of the rare ones. I don't think she's a Rhea Ripley, but yeah, man, like she's been a mainstay. She is a fan favorite. I don't see her leaving WWE anytime soon.
No, was the name you was looking for? Was it a Jason Styles?
Jason Styles was my trainer, very briefly, very briefly, but that was my trainer.
Boom. Thank you, Wikipedia. He is listed as one of her trainers.
Okay. Big Time
But
Wrestling has an amazing pro wrestling school. If you're in the area and you want to learn how to pro wrestle, they have a very fantastic training camp. Okay, and it's not so much a camp; it's very loose, it's very casual. There's a handful of people there, but what that means is you're gonna like get more attention. You're gonna get more proper training. Whereas back in the day, not to throw APW under the bus, and again, Big Time Wrestling was my first home, but I considered APW my real home. Anyway, APW was more of a not so much a meat grinder, but it was an assembly line. Like, okay, you bump, and now you bump, and now you bump. Hey, stupid! I thought I told you to bump. Like you would get, but that was 20, 25 years ago. Okay, like it was a different mentality. That school doesn't even exist anymore. It's gone through two or three different changes now. I'm not even sure if any iteration of it exists, even with the gold mine in Pacifica. But again, if you are in the East Bay, want to learn how to be a pro wrestler, I would search out Big Time Wrestling, and I would search out Jason Styles.
does that mean like if Bailey was to suddenly show up, would she go, "It's Kush"?
I'm sorry, what?
Like if Bailey was to walk in the room, would she recognize you? Would she go, "Oh
Not
my
at
god,
all.
it's Kush"? Oh,
In fact, I would be very surprised if she were like, hey, weren't you part of that Fox City gimmick? Like, I'd be very surprised if she even knew me from that.
Did you ever book her on Foxy Rest? I'm trying to
No,
think of
no.
the
Again,
timeline.
like as I was dealing with my personal drama, my financial drama, our doors were literally closing, whether I wanted to acknowledge it or not. She was literally she was going through training at that time. It's only finally when like I was sitting on the sidelines that I'm looking at cards like Davina Rose. Who is that? Everyone keeps talking about this Davina Rose. I would never put the two together until like, geez, maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Nice. Speaking of Foxy Wrestling, real quick segue. It's kind of like connected because it's a WrestleMania story. I still remember I told you this story, but I remember going to WrestleMania 24 in Orlando, Florida,
Hmm.
wearing a properly promoted
Oh,
T-shirt.
nice.
And then while I was in the line to go into the sound studio where they were taping Impact Wrestling or TNA at the time, I had a guy come up to me and was like, "Hey, what's that properly promoted? I saw a banner for that at Fog City Wrestling." I was like,
Nice.
small world.
I believe you've told me that story. If not in podcast form, I believe you've told me that on message board form. But yeah, 24, I believe. I want to say my referee Sparky Ballard was even like in the second or third row wearing the bright yellow luchador mask Fog City shirt. Here, hold on. This isn't the shirt, but this was this is the mask based on that shirt.
Nice.
We based it on the Watchmen movie. So, but yeah, yeah, it's amazing how much Fog City wrestling comes up these days. I mean, it doesn't come up. It's not a Ring of Honor. It's definitely not an ECW, but it's interesting to find out. Like, oh yeah, I heard about that.
Well, one of us is have to win the lottery and we can bring it back.
That'd be nice. So, let's get into this main event here, man. We're talking
Oh yeah, by the way, Bailey wins and wins the world
Bailey
women's
wins. That's right.
championship.
Yeah. You are correct. After 11 years, she's finally the. Was this her first women's champion, or just the first time she
No.
won this specific women's champion? Because I know there's been two or three of them now. When I finally fell out of wrestling, they were calling them divas. They for whatever one went from the women's division to divas division, and then I think they stopped doing that and went back to we got a Raw women's champion and a SmackDown women's champion. Oh, and an NXT women's champion. Oh, and a WWE women's tag team champion.
Yeah, so this is classed as the women's. So there's the WWE Women's Championship,
Sure.
and then there's the Women's World Championship, which the Rhea Ripley holds the Women's World Championship, and which Bailey, through its lineage, Bailey has held that twice in the past.
Oh, okay.
And so this would be the championship she has is the Women's Championship, not the World Women's. It's fucking ridiculous.
Fucking
But
hell. So this might
yes,
not be a fair question to you, or maybe just the lines have been blurred so much. Which one is the championship that Trish Stratus held that the fabulous Moolah held?
that is a great question.
Because I have a very similar question for the title match we're going to talk next. Which one did Roman Reigns hold? Did he hold the one that Mae Young held, or did he hold the championship that?
Well, the men's side of the championships is
We're talking about
even
the women's first.
more.
I was just
No,
making
yeah,
a joke.
I'm
Either.
when you,
Just making a
but
joke.
yeah, I'm just talking about that. That is even more ridiculous. Um, with the lineage. So let me. So according to the WWE's website, I think you're going to be disappointed by the answer to this.
Probably.
Yeah, both of these titles lineage only goes back to 2016.
That's honest. That's fair. That's fair.
So
That's
it
fair.
looks
These are
like
brand new titles, brand new destinies. Okay, I'm okay with that.
so. Yeah, the one you're talking about is, according to their website, is was de-established from
Mhm.
1956 to 2010. So after that, so the women's championship lineage stopped in 2010, and then that's when the Divas Championship kicked in.
Oh, so I don't even count the Divas Championship. Okay, okay. Well, I
According
appreciate
to the
that.
official website lineage, no, they're all separate championships, which is
I
weird
appreciate
but
that.
interesting at the same time.
So, who was the last women's champion then before the Divas? Was it Trish Stratus? No, it would have been like Michelle McCool or something stupid, right?
So the last woman to hold that is Layla.
Oh, Layla Ali. Wow. Yeah, she was great.
And then I think she ended up getting the Divas Championship. She was at one point a co-holder with that with Michelle McCool, and they were like Lay Cool.
I remember Lay Cool. Yeah.
And they had that weird design where it's like the championship was like broken in half, and each one of them would hold half the title.
Oh, I don't remember that. That's a fun gimmick,
Yeah.
especially for a couple chicks. That's a fun gimmick. Interesting.
And then one of them, I don't know where one of them went, and one of them ended up marrying the Undertaker.
One of them's married the Undertaker. I believe the other one's married in England. I think she's just a
Well,
regular
she
housewife
is
now.
English.
Yes, beautiful and English. Oh man, she's like wow. Yeah, Layla Ali. Woo.
Hubba hubba.
Hubba hubba. Yeah, I don't want to say anything rude, but oh boy. Anyway, let's get it on. Roman Reigns championship. Cody Rhodes, the challenger. This is Cody's second attempt to go after the big title at WrestleMania in the main event. They faced off the night before, and despite the fact that they beat the tar out of each other, seemed to walk into the ring pretty healthy, honestly. Like, again, UFC guys get more damage within 45 seconds of their fights. And these guys went on for like an hour the night before. It was a pretty good match. However,
Well,
the
these are
singles match.
professionals, Kush. These are trained professionals. All they need is a good night's sleep, and they're ready to go.
All right. There you go. There you go. That's a good answer. Papa Vince, who is no longer in charge, would appreciate that answer.
It is dead to us now.
Dead to a lot of people. This match, I thought the match was only okay. It was fun, and like they did the whole dusty finish where they threw everything in the kitchen sink at Cody Rhodes. What I like
going on.
There was a lot going on, especially in those final 10 minutes. John Cena came in, and poor John
Well, I
Cena
think you're
is 23 years older than when we remember him from his ruthless aggression Johnny Boots and Tights character.
yeah. He went from Johnny Boots and Tights to Word
Johnny
Life
Come-Over.
Thugonomics. Although that was a great gimmick.
Oh, the Doctor of Thugonomics was a lot of fun, for sure, for sure. And then he had the Marine gimmick, and then I think he finally just became John Cena. But
Johnny Jorts.
Johnny Jorts, very funny. Yeah, man. Again, he's a middle-aged man now. It's kind of hard for me to come to grips with that, despite the fact I was like, yeah, I've been watching this guy for over 20 years now. He's got a comb-over gimmick because so many guys have just grabbed him by the hair, and he's still got the baseball cap on like 23 hours a day. But like, yeah, dude, his bald spots are not looking good to the point where like,
you could tell every time he did a move and then his hair flopped around, he would like quickly like readjust his comb over.
He would have to Fonzie his hair, dude. He'd be like, oh. And it's I saw a couple of video packages where like he would throw someone through the table, or the Undertaker, the Rock just body slammed him or whatever, and then you would have to do the slick it back, and like, you're not slick enough, dude. It's not slick enough. Oh my god, the comb over, it's not enough. It's not enough, John.
But yeah, the run-ins were rife in this. So first we had Jimmy Uso, and then Jey Uso.
That made sense.
came out and speared him off the ramp through it. And I don't know if they missed the table because it looked like they went through the table, but the way they landed looked like they still hit the floor pretty hard. So that didn't look comfortable.
There is no way to do that softly.
No.
But I think they botched the spot also. But again, they're passionate.
And then the third brother, Solo Sikoa, came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when John Cena came out.
Mm-hmm.
FU'd Solo Sikoa through the announce table spot number 5, maybe, of the night. And then that's when the final boss, The Rock, came out and rock bottomed John Cena.
Mm-hmm.
And then the lights went out and bong. That's when The Undertaker came out.
I actually was very disappointed with that. Undertaker had no reason to be there.
Well, word on the street is that
he wanted $1,500 for the 3 minutes. Sure.
No, well, I heard that spot was originally written. So the original idea was apparently, I don't know this. Obviously, I don't have any. I'm just going off of people who say they know. So who knows?
Please go.
But apparently the original plan was for Rock to do the rock bottom or whatever on John Cena, and then to have the glass shatter and Stone Cold Steve Austin come down.
Oh, I hate that idea too.
Give him a stunner. That's apparently
I hate that idea too. Let those men be retired.
But then this is like we opened up the show with some cinema, and then we ended up with some cinema.
Ooh, cinema keeps coming up in these conversations we've been having, Mike Fish, and I get it, but it feels like a very forced adjective. But I understand where they're going with it, and you know what? I like cinema.
Because I am a huge fan of long-term storytelling.
Cool. And
one of my big thing with the old era of WWE, run by that smelly guy who smells like wee and poos on people, it was always like short-term memory. Nothing kind of made sense in the long run. Whereas now, I'm not giving WWE credit for this. I'm not saying, hey, 10 years ago, they already had this plan in mind. But the main event of this, the finish of the main event, tied in with something that happened 6, 7, 8 years ago. I can't remember exactly when. So what was really bizarre was when, after The Undertaker vanished, suddenly the next run-in was the Shield music. Which was where the group that Roman Reigns was introduced into WWE as. He was a member of the Shield with Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose, now known as Jon Moxley in AEW.
I'm in the minority of people who hated the Shield, by the way.
I dug the Shield, but yeah, I'm not gonna. It's one of those where I wasn't in love with them. So if you say you didn't like them, I'm not gonna argue with it.
You don't have to argue.
But so Seth Rollins comes out dressed like he used to be dressed in the Shield, and basically just ran out, took a chair shot to the back, and he was gone. But then at first I was like, why did that kind of bit weird? Because at least normally when they, so far throughout this match, the people that was doing the run-in has at least got some kind of offense in before they got taken out. But he just ran in, took a chair shot.
And it happened so quickly that the cameramen didn't know what was happening. So all you know is you heard this music, and I was like, I recognize that music. What is it? And then all of a sudden you hear whack, and they're like, oh shit, I think even by a speared him. But Roman Reigns took out Seth Rollins before you even knew that Seth Rollins was in the ring. You're like, oh sure, and there is a SWAT cop gimmick. What?
But then it reminded me, one, of at some point during the build when Seth Rollins agreed to be Cody Rhodes' partner on night one, he was basically like saying that I've dealt with the bloodline before. Like, you need help, I'll be your shield. Right, he was going to help him out.
Alliteration is fun.
Yeah, and also the way when Roman Reigns hits him with the chair, Seth Rollins sells it the exact way Roman Reigns sold it when Seth Rollins turned on the Shield back in the day.
Wow. You gotta fucking really be paying attention to that because
Yeah, exactly.
I've forgotten all that shit.
So, and then the way, like say, the cameras kind of missed it, but when they showed like the replay, so because it wasn't quite straight there at the time, but when they showed the replays, it was kind of like, oh my god, this is brilliant, because Cody Rhodes could have almost been finished off. Roman Reigns could have finished Cody Rhodes, retained the title, but then it was almost like hearing the Shield music and seeing Seth Rollins in the Shield gear, almost like was triggering for Roman Reigns, I guess, because when Seth Rollins slides into the ring, in the different angle they show, you can see Roman Reigns has the chair and he's almost like torn. Like, wait, do I go for Cody and finish the match? But fuck this guy, fuck Seth Rollins. I remember that. And he took his eye off the ball, I guess, again, hit him with the chair, and then turn around, and that led to Cody Rhodes hitting the crossroads 3 times and becoming the champion of the longest championship name ever, the undisputed WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion.
So we had a couple different numbers disputing this. Even on the Waffle Box the other night, I was under the impression this was Roman Reigns Saturday night was 1,000 title defenses. Then they said Sunday night it was like 1,300 days or something, and then but you had said also like no, he's only defended this title like 67 times or something. Well, a lot of discrepancies with these numbers thrown around here. So
yeah,
what have you assessed?
Michael Cole said on commentary that this was I think it was his 61st title defense. And when he lost the championship on Sunday, that was he had held the championship for 1,316 days.
Okay. Where am I getting this 1,000? Somewhere in between all of this for Roman Reigns. I don't remember it being a meme on Facebook. If it was, well, that's my bad then.
But yeah, he's held the championship since August 30th, my birthday. Send me a birthday card. 2020 until April 7th, 2024.
Wow. That's still just, dude.
So 3.5 years. Probably just slightly over 3.5 years as champion. It's pretty impressive.
Great damn run, dude. Seriously. So again, Cody Rhodes finally is victorious. He wins 1, 2, 3.
Finish the story, baby.
He finished the story. He finished that story. And then we get into the cinema of this thing. And I always kind of find this cheesy when the entire locker room comes out and just starts clapping. But this happens more times than not at like an indie show. And it's like, what are you doing, man? It's good. This guy's had like 5 matches. What are you doing? But like in this case, it made sense. In this case, Brandy Rhodes coming into the ring, that's Cody Rhodes' wife, and give him a kiss on the cheek makes complete sense. Where's Dustin actually in all of this? I didn't even think about it till before we started recording. But just like his mom is there, his father-in-law is there, like everyone in Cody Rhodes' corner, every Cody Rhodes supporter is there, and it's a beautiful moment, dude. And it's the first time I've ever cried up at a wrestling match, dude. Like, it's never happened before, dude. I've produced 20 events. I've been watching things since WrestleMania 4. Like, I didn't cry when Eddie died. I didn't cry when Chris Benoit died. Like, but this one got a little sand in my eyes, and I was like, fuck, dude, finally did it.
Well, this is because I think that was one. Also, having Randy Orton there was pretty cool because Randy Orton took him under his wing when he was like first called up because he was in was it the Legacy faction
with Ted DiBiase remember Jr. The Legacy. My earliest memory of Cody Rhodes is 2 memories. It's the night they inducted Dusty into the Hall of Fame,
and he cut a hell of a promo that pretty much got him his job.
Oh, maybe. I don't remember his promo, but I remember looking at this guy going like, he does a lot of cocaine. And then when he was signed, he was Bob Holly's boy lackey. And I was just like, oh,
Yes.
this is wildly uncomfortable. This is like prison relationship uncomfortable. Like, I don't like any of this. Also, where was Bob Holly during all of this?
I don't know what he's up to these days. But no, I think the reason this was, yeah, and like I said, Dustin would have been nice to be there, but currently he is contracted to All Elite Wrestling, so I don't think they allowed him to appear on screen, which is a shame.
That's dumb on their part.
It is dumb on their part because then one, it would have been a nice moment to have his brother because I'm sure they would have been in tears, crying, hugging it out, and it would have been a beautiful moment. And then people would have gone on social media and yada yada. Oh my god, isn't it cool that AEW let Dustin go on there? And people, it would have drummed up more positive PR because they need it right now. If we can get into if we want, but because they are looking really bad at the moment.
And I'm just like, where's this coming from? Like, they were the darlings 18 months ago.
Well, they were the alternative brand, and that was when they started up, WWE was not doing great in terms of on screen. It was a very bad product, so everyone was like, "Oh my god, AEW finally we got a decent program." But now WWE's in the new era and doing very well. Suddenly, like everyone's kind of seeing AEW not as great as it used to be. Plus, they're doing really bad promotional tactics, like CM Punk was involved in a little scrap backstage in their Wembley Stadium show.
The Jungle Boy, right?
Yeah.
And I heard a little bit about that. You can look that up.
And now he's one of the most hated people in professional wrestling.
Oh. Well, that's sad.
Yeah, apparently
sad Kush face.
Apparently he's a bit of a dick. But and that's from several people.
Really? But anyway, bigger dick than CM Punk? Okay.
Yeah, so and then CM Punk went on Errol Hawani's podcast and talked.
I saw that
shit about AEW
going into the weekend. Yeah.
And so AEW have now decided. I mean, I haven't seen it yet, but it aired this past Wednesday on Dynamite on TBS. AEW apparently promoted that they were going to air the security footage of that fight on their main TV show, and everyone's
smart to do.
Exactly,
that's pretty much. To do.
Even like because there's a lot on social media. There's the tribalism of everything, but in trouble is there's WWE fans and AEW fans, and they all talk shit about each other. I am the kind of guy in the middle. I just like good wrestling, and if it's a good show, I enjoy it. I don't give a shit if it's WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor or whatever. But even I am kind of like, what benefit are you going to get from doing this? Like, it's.
Well, I mean, let's
look petty.
Let's blur the fantasy and the reality. If an assault happened, and I've been led to believe an assault happened backstage, this is not good. I mean, I'm guessing no charges have been pressed, especially I guess in Wembley. Big shrug, audio shrug, but yeah, this is not the. I'm no lawyer and I'm no magistrate, but this does not seem like the right thing to do. No. Don't show the tape, Kane. Don't show the tape.
Yeah, that could look pretty bad for them, but anyway, enough about that. But yeah, Cody Rhodes. Yeah, I think the reason a lot of people got so invested in this and so emotional about this is because, again, as we say, wrestling is a nudge, wink, wink. It's a show and blah, blah, blah. Everyone's, it's predetermined fate, blah, 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 blah. But this thing with Cody Rhodes and quote finishing the story is a true story. It's real life. The reason, he wanted to become a professional wrestler was because of his dad.
Sure.
Obviously, which mentioned Dustin Rhodes there. They had a very awkward relationship with his dad because his dad was always on the road. But then when Cody came along, Dusty was a little bit better, a better dad. And so they have a really close relationship. Cody loved his father, helped him get into the business. And, him, even though obviously they amped it up, they turned it to 11 for the TV show. But him wanting to win the title that his dad was never able to was a real quest of his. That was a real want of his. And so I think, as shown by the viral video of Samantha Irvin, the ring announcer, when she was announcing him as the winner, getting very emotional. It was a true, almost like it's even though obviously he's not really, because again, it's not a real fight. He didn't really beat up Roman Reigns to win it, but it's kind of like almost seeing
That was a
someone
big
that
deal.
you work, but it's almost like seeing someone you work with who's really like, he's like, you know what, I want to get this promotion at work and working really hard at it and getting knocked down year after year and then eventually getting his promotion. It's like good for them. You do feel like, yeah, good for them. They finally got that what they wanted in it out of life. And
Like I
he's
said,
seen, so it's very nice. And then yeah, so that was the match. And then there's last bit I do want to touch on, which is
touch
the
on
press conference story.
the press conference,
Which
please.
oh gee, that was, oh my god, if he wasn't crying at the end of the match, oh my god. So at the press conference, like you mentioned, they do press conferences now after each PLE, which someone quipped that because PLE stands for Premium Live Event rather than pay-per-view. But now so apparently PLE stands for the Paul Levesque era.
I'm not mad at that.
But yeah, so there they do press conferences after each PLE, and Cody Rhodes comes out with a new Rolex watch.
Oh yeah, that
And
was a nice story.
so if the story goes, Dusty pawned his Rolex to get enough money to send Cody to acting school. And then Nick Khan, who is the president of WWE,
And not to be confused with Tony Khan.
who is the president of AEW. But yeah, it conflicted. I don't know whether it's the exact same one. They somehow found the pawn shop that got it from. I don't know. But
That would be super duper cool. But I think it was
it would
just
be
the
super
same
cool if it was a
model.
real one. But I think it's the same like make and model.
I think it was just
And
the
they
same
gift
make and model.
they gifted it to him after he won the championship. Like, this is the watch that your dad wore and pawned for you. And it was like, that was a nice story.
No, thank you for reminding me about that. That was a legitimate, beautiful story. Again, the when we get to the press conference, again, I get into the same problems I had that we talked about at the Waffle Box the other night, where like they're asking shoot questions to fake characters, but then but they're real people playing fake. It's
Well, there's a problem is that some, depending on who you,
and yeah,
which
they were very
wrestlers go up
selective.
there.
Not everything was like USA Today. There was once Cody Rhodes got into the press conference, then it was ESPN and why do I say
Belcher
that?
Report.
Bleacher Report. Like it was actual the main journalists sources. But like when we were doing Damian Priest, he got into the press conference, and then someone was like, "So hey, what's it like to represent Puerto Rico and Don Morocco?" And he's like, "Hey, I love Don Morocco, and I love being Puerto Rican. Hey, what are you gonna do? Hey, like nothing but like, what do you want to do next? What it feel like to become the first champion in 44 years or whatever?" Like it got. They gave the wrong people the wrong opportunities and they asked the wrong questions.
Well, there is also a problem with, I've watched a few of these now, is depending on who goes up there in terms of which performer. Some like Cody Rhodes, for example, who go up there as Cody Rhodes, like the man, like this is me, like you are now interviewing me, talking about my performance, blah blah blah. But then sometimes you'll get people going up there in character.
We didn't get into it in the Waffle Box, but the previous night, Roman Reigns kicked a woman out of the press conference who was probably just sitting there going, What did I do?
Well, she didn't acknowledge him.
Well, she got kicked out too.
To be fair, that did make me chuckle.
That was wonderful.
He wanted everyone
to
acknowledge him, and then you could just hear in the background, "Boo!" And he's like, "Who said that? Get her out."
Oh, I don't know.
And he stopped the press conference until she left.
I remember him stopping the press conference. I remember him making a woman leave. They wouldn't show any of that on camera, but it's just like, that's good kayfabe. That's a good storyline. Make that journalist leave. make her can be confused and write a shitty article the next day. But
I
yeah,
think these press conferences, the only thing that makes me sad though is they are kind of making me start to feel old, amongst other things that make me feel old these days. But is when watching a wrestler, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up, Triple H, now coming out in his suit, and then he's got his notes about all the numbers, and he has to get his little glasses out to read. I was like, oh my god.
I'm going through the same thing right now. Personally, like I'm just like, oh god, where are my glasses? I gotta read this notes.
And I mean, obviously, young people have to have reading glasses as well. But it's just funny, like watching this guy who was like the cerebral assassin, now having to get his little readers out to read. Okay, tonight's show was attended by 74,000 people.
He's in his mid-50s, but now he's got gray hairs, and he was like, "What is that bullshit?" And again, he's a goddamn gorilla, and he's just like putting on these tiny little read glasses, like, "Oh hey, so we had 53,000 tonight in attendance, and you know."
So sad.
What a world we're in now, Mike Fish. Overall, I had a great time watching WrestleMania 40.
Sorry, I was just going to mention another thing that makes me feel old is your boy Rikishi. Is like the fact that I remember watching Rikishi coming through when he was part of the head shrinkers?
Yes, I think.
And then he became Rikishi Fatu and was too cool, part of the dancing, blah blah blah. He was like a big part of my youth, and now here I am watching his 3 sons, grown old adult sons, wrestling in WrestleMania. It's like, what the fuck?
Rumor has it a young man named Jacob Fatu, his 4th son, will be making his debut sooner than later.
I thought Jacob was Rikishi's brother's son.
Maybe. It's a big family. It's a big family. Jacob's coming up though.
Yes.
Be on the lookout
another cousin.
They're all cousins.
This is why I liked it when Samoa Joe was part of WWE, when he was like, I can't remember who he was facing, but he mentioned about it. You might remember me. I'm the only Samoan here not related to The Rock.
That's amazing. I love that because no one else is copying to that. That's good. Is he not in WWE anymore? Like not even in NXT?
No, he's the AEW heavyweight champion.
All right, good for him. Good for him. Mike Fish, did you enjoy this WrestleMania Part 40?
Overall, I thoroughly enjoyed the weekend, including like the Hall of Fame stuff.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that stuff.
Spoiler alert, at some point they'll show Haku at ringside.
Oh.
And
scariest man in the industry, FYI.
Yeah, I don't know how old he is now, but he still looks scary. Like he will rip your head off.
You need to be afraid of Haku even 10 years after he's dead, because he might come out of the ground and still murder you if you do something to disrespect him. You heard it here first.
I think if I remember, I don't want to spoil anything, but I think Paul Heyman makes mention of him in his speech, because Paul Heyman's children at ringside.
Okay.
And I think I'm trying to remember, but I could be wrong, but I think at some point he mentions something to his son where it's like, just FYI, you're like 3 seats down from Haku, so you better behave yourself, kind of thing. But yeah, my only gripe of this, it might be one, is like, I think there was a couple of matches that made me feel like, okay, now they have to fill up the time because they have 2 nights.
Mm-hmm.
Like there realistically were a couple of matches. Like I'm not going to begrudge anyone for making a big payday on the big show and wrestling in front of 70,000 people, but there were probably 3 or 4 matches across the weekend that could have been just on a Raw or SmackDown,
or even the warm up, the heat
pre-show.
That's not even a thing anymore, but still. Yeah.
But and also because of the stipulation, the main event of night one, like I mentioned on Waffle Box when we were talking about night one, it kind of felt like rather than night one, night two, it felt like part one, part two, where the first night kind of really felt secondary because and it was a bit of a foregone conclusion who's going to win it. So the main event of night one didn't really, for me, have as much excitement as it could have been.
Once everyone started doing the run-ins, just like, finally, are you only getting to this now?
Yeah, it's like, can we just get to the point here? But yeah, night two was personally my favorite, but overall, it was a very good weekend. What's interesting though is that I think for the first time for as long as I can remember, they wrapped up a WrestleMania without officially announcing the location for the year after.
Yes. Okay, I noticed that. I thought maybe I blinked and I missed it, but
that's
usually
that's
a thing.
what I was like. So and then the other day, like on Monday, I googled it. I was like, wait, did they announce this? And I was googling, and it's like, oh, apparently it's rumored to be either in Las Vegas or Minneapolis. But
I was watching
nothing's
the
official.
Undertaker's podcast the other day, and he's like, I think it's in Las Vegas. So I'm going to Vegas for right now. But yeah, where was the other date? Other location? Excuse me.
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis. Really? What's the arena in Minneapolis?
Oh no, what was it? What was it? Where do the Vikings play?
Minnesota, which is in Minneapolis.
Oh, okay. So yes, okay. So yes. Apparently that's because that's part of because now cities are bidding for WrestleMania and offering
as they should be.
So apparently they've made a big fuss of that. They're trying to get WrestleMania there. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it's Minnesota or Vegas. But yeah, it's very odd that they've. I guess maybe they're working the two sides against each other, trying to get more money. So
okay, that is a very strategic business move. I get it.
Because even now, because I think they've only just announced SummerSlam location as of recently, because maybe they were waiting to get that deal done.
Yeah,
it's all about the money.
The SummerSlams and the Survivor Series and even the Royal Rumbles were never on my radar. I always just want to know, when is WrestleMania coming back to the Bay Area? And it came back 9 years ago, and then I did it, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I walked away, and I haven't, and except for once a year, I don't look back.
Should never look back.
Once a year doesn't hurt. But
you might walk into something.
Mike Fish, I know you haven't seen every single WrestleMania, or at least I don't think you have. I don't think you've seen all 40 years of WrestleMania. But what would you say is your favorite WrestleMania?
So I have watched all, like, through, like, obviously going back and watching the archives.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very cool, because I haven't even done that. And I had access to the 24/7 jukebox, which became WWE Network, which is now just Peacock. But I don't even know if everything's on Peacock, but still.
But yeah, I would say my favorite one is still WrestleMania 19.
Great one. That's a great one.
Headline The Rock versus Steve Austin. I think that's still no, because he did come back to have that match against Kevin Owens, but up until recently, that was his last match.
Yeah, no, that's still Austin Rock Part 3.
Yes, and then Chris Jericho, Shawn Michaels match was very good. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar nearly killing himself, literally, doing a shooting star press. Even the Hulk Hogan versus name redacted match wasn't too bad.
That match was amazing, actually. It was just carnage and bloodshed, and it was a very weird match to have in a WWF/WWE ring, because they were still trying to project family friendly. However, then you have Vince McMahon stabbing Hulk Hogan in the face with a pen. Like, that happened. You're just like, Jesus Christ. This is going on in the match. Where did you get a pen from? Like, he's just stabbing him right in the face. And Hogan took it. He was like, I guess you're stabbing me, brother. Oh my God. Please stop. I don't like this.
The check cleared. You can do it, brother.
WrestleMania 19, I think is man, it's like right up there, dude. Like all the matches you just mentioned, like Shawn Michaels and Y2K was going to be my bathroom break, and ended up being, I think it stole the show that night, despite how incredible Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar was. I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest match I've ever seen to this point. I am going to add WrestleMania 21, where we get Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle against one another. Like, I don't watch that match a lot, but every time I watch it, so many jump scares, more jump scares than an M. Night Shyamalan movie, dude. Like, it's fantastic.
That was one of those few matches where, as an adult, like I watch wrestling, I still enjoy wrestling, but I'm not saying that I'm smart that I know what's going on, blah, 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 but I enjoy it in a different way as I did as a 12-year-old child.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate the artwork and things like that. But that was one of those few matches where, by the end of it, like you say, I'm like every near fall, I'm like, oh my!
Mm-hmm.
Like it sucked me in. Like that was fantastic match. And also that one had Akibono, remember?
Akibono and Big Show
in a sumo wrestling match,
which was the most technical match on the card. Like Big Show lost, but no one was expecting him to win. But also just like, Akibono just used physics and he's like, here you go, fat guy, go over there. Like I said, somewhere in the middle of this show, like one of my first WWF experiences was WrestleMania 4. So I was there for the Mega Powers. I was there when they split up. I remember when Hogan dropped the belt to the Ultimate Warrior. I got called a fat for watching WrestleMania 7, despite that everybody that just taunted me was in the same room with me for WrestleMania 6 the year before. And I was like, my guys, Hogan retained the belt against Sid. Fag! What? I don't like this. So look, man, like my lineage goes deep, but what is your earliest WrestleMania moment?
Is it like the earliest WrestleMania like memory of like, oh my god, I remember that happening when I watched
saw
it?
Part 10, you saw Part 11, your first WrestleMania.
The earliest one I can remember, because this is the problem, like going back and watching things or watching stuff when I was like younger. Sometimes it's like, I remember watching that live, or did I just remember watching that later on?
I remember this shit live, so I would go with your first live memory.
The live memory I remember was WrestleMania 14.
14, wow. So I think that was the first Austin Rock feud.
No,
I did not see WrestleMania 14, so I'm just guessing at this one.
WrestleMania 14, I think, was the one that had like the DX band did the national anthem. That was Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels with Mike Tyson.
Golly, I want to say that was 13, but I'm gonna just So I remember Mike Tyson. Excuse me. I remember Mike Tyson getting into WrestleMania, and like I had a friend who had the infamous black box where he was getting the pay-per-views for free. Like anything you wanted to see, he got that shit. So it was announced Mike Tyson's gonna be a part of WWF now, and I was like, "Yo, Ryan, man, is Mike Tyson gonna start wrestling?" It's like, I don't know, Kush, but we gotta check it out. And then, sure enough, we were watching Mike Tyson and referee a match between Shawn Michaels and Steve Austin. God, yeah, I just dug that memory up.
And then, Shawn Michaels getting pissed off at Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson knocking him out. And then like ripping off his DX shirt to reveal like a Austin 316 shirt or something, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, huge crowd pop for that. Huge crowd pop. So, what would you say is your worst WrestleMania? Like again, I've enjoyed all of them. I believe I've enjoyed all of them. Like I don't remember leaving one just going, that should have been better, or my guy should have gone over. And like even the matches I wanted to go as specific, I was like, yeah, all right, we'll make it work. It's fine. I had a good time. I drank 3 pitchers of beer and had a big hamburger. Whatever.
My, I don't know if it was the worst WrestleMania, but it left a. It was just an overall horrible experience for me, right?
Oh,
And I remember this one. So it was WrestleMania 2000,
oh,
where it was the fatal four-way main event with McMahon in every corner.
sure.
Um, but because that was the first WrestleMania that I remember that when the full 4 hours. And so at the time, if I remember correctly, so that was obviously year 2000.
Hmm.
So I was turning 15. So I was 14 years old. So I still had school. And I just got to the point where like my parents were like cool enough with like, because I remember one time like asking, can I stay up and watch wrestling live? And I
Yeah,
think my
because you're in the
parents,
UK and it's like 3 in the morning, isn't it?
well, they would start at 1 a.m.
Fucking hell.
And so I think one time my parents were like, fine, go for it. Thinking that I'd wake up the next morning regretting it and being like, oh, I was dumb. And they're like, see, you learned your lesson. But then I kind of just got on with my life and they were like, oh, Jesus Christ. All right, well, if you want to do it. So every month they would just let me stay up. I was like, fine, whatever. And it was kind of like fun.
Nice.
I'd bring my pillows down and my blanket and I'd like lay on the couch on the couch in the living room watching wrestling.
Hmm.
But this WrestleMania 2000, it was kind of like a nothing burger. It didn't really have any. I think there might be, if I pull up the results, if I remember correctly, there was like, might have been, yeah, the triple threat 2 out of 3 falls. Chris Benoit, Chris Jericho, and Kurt Angle was a very good match.
Hmm.
Other than that, it was like, oh, yeah, the ladder match for the whatever. But anyway, the main event was Triple H, Cactus Jack, Big Show, and The Rock with a man every corner. And it was just kind of like, ugh. It was like such a smodge gimmick, crappy thing. And then it ended at 5 a.m. And I knew that my alarm was going off at like 7 for me to go to school the next day.
Mm.
And I couldn't get to sleep because I just watched wrestling, but it wasn't great. And so I was a bit, so I think I might have had like an hour of sleep and then I had to go to school the next day. And it was just kind of a miserable. It wasn't a great WrestleMania. It was like, you know, there's times. So I don't think it was the worst ever, but you know when sometimes you like, I should have just DVR'd this and had a good night's sleep.
We didn't have DVRs at that time, though,
I
so I
know
get
this
it.
is when I used to record with a VCR,
Sure, sure,
but
sure.
I thought I'd use modern terminology for the kids. But
And you
oh
weren't
my
you
god.
you didn't have to pay for those pay-per-views. Like those were
Well,
through Sky Sports.
yeah. So it's kind of like they were quote unquote free, but you'd have to pay a monthly fee for the channel that it was on.
Okay,
So it's almost like
everything like we're doing today.
Peacock is now,
Sure, sure, sure.
but it was way more. It's like Sky Sports was something like £40 a month, where you got like all the Sky Sports channels packages, the sports
Okay.
package and things like that. But yeah, you get Raw and all that. But that was, I think, at the time. I don't know if they switched it by then, but this was the whole. It used to make it really fun, right? This was before the internet, so you didn't really get the spoilers.
Mhm.
But so Raw would air from 9 to 11 on Friday night.
On Friday night. Wow. 5 days afterwards.
Yeah, and then SmackDown would air from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Saturday morning.
Oh.
And then you'd have the pay-per-view if it was a weekend on the Sunday. So if it was a pay-per-view weekend, it was a great weekend. It's like Raw on Friday, SmackDown Saturday, and pay-per-view on Sunday.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
but yeah, then they eventually started airing them live on Mondays and Fridays and all.
Mhm. I'm gonna say my probably biggest disappointment was WrestleMania 7. However, the memories that I have is literally looking at the back of the DVD for WrestleMania 18 and just what drew me back into pro wrestling, because this is now 9/11 time. I'm not watching any TV prior to that. Like, I have a weird job, weird hours. I'm not watching any primetime stuff. But after 9/11, I only have time to watch TV. And I'm like, oh, SmackDown. And then once we went past the first hour, I was surprised, like, this is 2 hours long? Wow. Anyways, we're in the whole invasion angle. And I was excited for WrestleMania 18, but couldn't watch it live because I didn't know the Kezar Pub was doing it, for one, and didn't have enough money to just buy it on pay-per-view. However, I look back at that card now and just like, yeah, I mean, Rock and Hogan is a fun just gimmick, but there's nothing else on this card really worth salvaging. Like, I think Steve Austin fought Scott Hall.
Yeah, that was
And at the
bad.
same time, it's just like, all right, I guess. Whatever.
Yeah, it was and even the main event, Triple H and Chris Jericho.
Yeah, that's right. Jericho had to drop the belt, and that was just underwhelming.
It was, and the whole build up to that was very weird because it was like Stephanie McMahon was Chris Jericho's manager,
Mm-hmm.
and so the whole feud was basically Triple H versus Stephanie McMahon with Chris Jericho, who was supposed to be the undisputed champion, kind of in the background waving like, "Hello,
Hey, I'm
you
here.
want to pay attention to me?"
You remember me?
It was very weak, but yeah, that wasn't a great era for WWF as it was still at the time.
Yeah. I absolutely remember watching SmackDown because so again, at this time, Raw is only on TNN, the Nashville network, which would then become the national network, and it still was not available in my area. So anything Raw related, I would get on a SmackDown replay, like Lug's Boot of the Week, brought to you, blah, 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 blah. Anyways, yeah, this is fun times, man. We could go into this all night long. Let's not.
All night long, all
Nice.
night, all night.
Good callback. Good callback. My friend, let's do some plugs. You and I are a part of a little show called the Waffle Box. We have been doing it almost 3 years now, and it's quite exciting. Mike, tell the good kids where they can find the Waffle Box.
Enjoy wafflebox.com. Go to that link, and then you'll be able to go to the YouTube channel or the Spotify, Apple Podcast, and all that good stuff. Hit subscribe, hit the follow button. Yeah, episode 145 just came out where we reviewed Night One of WrestleMania. Plus, Kush, you reviewed Monkey Man and much more.
Very good.
I've already got some interesting stories lined up for episode 146, so make sure you subscribe and get involved in that. And hopefully, depending on if technology, because I found out today there might be an issue with my streaming software. They're having disagreements with YouTube, but hopefully we are going to be doing a live episode on Wednesday, May the 1st, which would be to the day our third birthday. But we'll keep an eye on that. But even whether it's live or not, May 1st, episode 148, if I remember correctly, will be officially our third birthday. So great time to come on board if you haven't already done so. Enjoy wafflebox.com.
That's what's up. And like I said, you already heard it. We're on the Waffle Box. It's the original Waffle Box. And you accept no substitutes. Coming to you all the way from the future home of Super Bowl 60 and New Jersey, the Garden State.
New Jersey.
It's the best part of Wednesdays. And you love us because we do this, and we do this because we love you. So,
and for the first time in 145 episodes, I got to show off my spidey senses, which was really cool.
Yes,
during
check
the
out last week's episode.
Yeah, what you have to watch the video version. So go to YouTube, the YouTube page on enjoywafflebox.com. Click the YouTube page. During the introduction, my rolled up rug decided he wanted to be on the show, and it almost crushed my head. And luckily, spider sense, and I stopped it and saved my life. It's hilarious. Or just go to Twitter, go to our Twitter page at Wafflebox, and there's a video on there where you can see it. It was hilarious.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. He's been Mike Fish. I've been Kush Hayes. You've been you. Folks, there's literally only 10 episodes left. So check us out. Keep coming back for the next 10. We're going to be done before the 1st of July. And hugs and kisses, baby.
Microdose, 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 yeah, microdose.
From the Bosnet family.
Living the dream, my friend. Living the dream.